How you doing, boss? Okay, there's quite a few people in here, so it says, and you're the only one that's in the chat. So whoever else is watching, it'd really be nice of you to get into the chat and say hello and be recognized. Anyway, hey Mike, how are you? There you go. Okay, so Ross, you were here this afternoon, and Mike, you like these, huh? These are innovative percussion. I just signed with them about a month ago. And there's just a number on here. It's not a model of anything, it's just a number. It's IPCR. And they're pretty nice. I mean, really nice. The beads, I like the bead. It's a barrel bead. And they feel nice. I'm experimenting, actually. I usually use a practice pad stick that's a little bit heavier. Okay, and I'm trying to relax that left hand like we talked about. And Mike, thank you for your information. I haven't had a chance to actually look at it, but I will this evening. The left hand, I mean, it's depressing for me to go like this now, to play German. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. That's pretty depressing. So I need to have a lot of work done there. Anyway, I planned on doing the 5-stroke, the 6-stroke, and the 7-stroke roll. But you guys already know that, and we've gone over it. And we'll go over it a little bit, somewhat tonight. But, you know, let's talk about stick control. Okay? The stick control, like, you know, do 1 through 72, full strokes, half strokes, and quarter strokes. And after a period of time, year after year after year, and a million times later, you know, it becomes not a job, but, you know, oh man, I got to do this again, I got to work on something else. It's essential you do that. But what I find more difficult than doing the exercise itself is the organization. Like from line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, where am I? You know, I forgot, and oh boy, you know, am I on line number 8, number 9? So I want to take a different approach, and you know, I first open up the full stroke so I can, you know, get a relaxed motion, nice and slow, feel the muscles say hello, good morning, good afternoon, or whatever. But we're going to do a no-brainer tonight with the stick control book. And what I usually do is I'll put my timer on for, I say, maybe 10 minutes, which I won't bore you with, but that's what I usually do. And when I say no-brainer, this is what I mean. You know, you're going from line 1 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, then vamping, going going to line 2, vamping going to line 3. Now that has absolute value because the way he organized the sticking. But to mix it up a little bit, what I like to do occasionally, all right, I'll put the metronome on after I warm up somewhat. I'd say, I don't know, let me go to 136. And when I say no-brainer, I'm not doing line 1 and going to line 2. I'm maintaining eighth notes. And whatever sticking I want to use, I'll use. But here's the good part about this as well. What I'm doing is I'm doing 4-measure increments. And it helps you feel a 4-measure phrase eventually. Okay, so you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to do a no-brainer. I'm not going to go into any kind of organizational thing. So I'll just play. And every 4th measure of vamping. 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3. 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. You get the idea, gentlemen? Now, I didn't use any organization there. I didn't use line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4. I just, no-brainer, I'm not worried about where I'm at. As long as for that 4 measures, I'm doing either a right or a left, or 4 rights and 2 lefts, or whatever the combination might be. But after the 4th measure, I'm vamping. Okay, how about you, Mike? It's a little bit, it's a different way. It has its value as well as the organization that Mr. Stone did. So it breaks it up somewhat, you know, to do line 1 through 24 with advanced full strokes, half strokes, and quarter strokes every day. I mean, it's a lot of work, and it gets a little redundant there. You know, it's like over and over and over and over again. But like I said, it's essential. But occasionally, I'll do something like that. I'll just sit there and up the tempo somewhat. The faster tempo I get, this is not too fast, it's only 150. And the closer I'm going to get to the drum. Okay, I'm going to play 150. 1, 2, 3. I'll start with the vamp. 3, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, vamp, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. So on and so forth. Mike, do you understand that, Michael? Hey, Ross, Mike's all set up for that mini camp that we're going to do Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in April. If you're interested, contact me. 3 days of intensive drumming. Has it helped you, Mike? So, you know, and I mix it up. And next week we're going to work on some other things from the stick control book and the Morello book, the master studies, the fill-ins. If you remember, if I did 2 rights and 2 lefts, or when there's a grouping of rights and lefts, we fill into the 16th. For example, right, right, left, left would be 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN. You remember that, gentlemen? You remember that, Ross? I'm not sure if you had that with me. Okay. And, you know, to break up the monotony sometimes, and it does become monotonous. I don't want to say it's a job. You know, I sit in the studio here at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I only can practice on the pad because I have a family here. And what I do is I'll vamp. I'll do the exercises in the stick control book until the whole family's up, gone to school, and the wife's out there spending my money food shopping. I'll sit on the drums. And then so on and so forth with the computer. Okay, Ross, do you remember the fill-ins from the stick control book? Ross? not, I'll explain it real quick, because we're gonna do a lesson, a one surface lesson one time next week with that. Do you understand it? Okay. You're not sure, but just to give you an example, let's do line 3, and I'll do it with the fill-ins. We're playing line 3 as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's what's written. Now, no, not the vamps, no. Fill-ins. What I'm going to do, instead of just playing 1 and, I have 2 rights in a row, so I'm going to fill that in to the right. So I have 1 and, so instead of having that, I'm going to have 1 E N. Now, the next one is left, so I'm going to have 2 E N. So instead of 1 and 2 and 3, now the fill-ins. 1 E N, 2 E N, 3 E N, 4 E N. A better way to actually see that is the paradiddle sticking. 1 and 2 N. So I'd have 1 and 2 E N, 3 and 4 E N. We'll get into a whole lesson of that. I just wanted to explain that's up and coming. Now, you guys did the 5-stroke roll, the 6-stroke roll, and the 7-stroke roll. Do we have any questions on that? And this is something that you're not going backwards with, but you're going almost to the beginning and reinforcing what's natural. Example, if I'm doing a 5-stroke roll or rolls, that's fine, you guys probably can do that. But here's what I do most of the time, instead of playing. I mean, if I'm gonna play the 5-stroke roll on the drum pad, I'll usually get a rudimental book and like the NARD or the Charlie Wilcoxon or any rudimental book that's out there, and you know, play the rudiments, and I see 5s and I play the 5s. But very few people break it down. Now, you have the sheet on the 5-stroke roll, you have the sheet on the 6-stroke roll, and you have the sheet on the 7-stroke roll. So let's start with the 5-stroke roll. The more you do this, the cleaner the end result is going to be. Okay? Now, what I presented was the 5-stroke roll in 6/8. First off, you know, I see this on YouTube a lot, and they demonstrate a 5-stroke roll is right, left, right. Well, yeah, that's correct. That's the correct sticking. But that's not how you execute it. Now, there is, you know, I hate to say there's a right way and there's a wrong way. Let's put it this way. This is the most efficient way and the best way to produce a cleaner and stronger 5-stroke roll. That sounds a little bit better. All right, the first presentation of the 5-stroke roll, I'm going to put in 6/8. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 counts, but we're looking for 5 strokes. So we're going to play all the counts, except we're just going to count 6, we're not going to play it. Now, the starting position is your hands are down, about 2-3 inches off the drum. Now I'm going to play 6/8 real slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now notice, my starting position is also my ending position. And there's an upstroke and a tap and a downstroke inside of the 5-stroke roll. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on. Now the slower you do this, the better off you are. The stronger you will become. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And like I said in a couple other lessons, practicing is a personal thing. You know, what I'm trying to go after here is I'm relaxed, I'm maintaining the same sound, with the doubles and accenting the right or the left, wherever the accent falls. So there's two sounds in the 5-stroke roll. Simple. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, that might sound a little bit, or presenting it to you as upfront nonsense, but it's not. It's extremely, extremely essential that you do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, I'm going to put the metronome on, and I am going to do this for a minute. And this is how you should practice it. Let's try 150. Let me see how that feels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Once you feel you have it without a metronome, you have the motion down like so. Put it in tempo. Here we go. 150. Each tick is a count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. There you go. Now, that was only for a minute. Sometimes I'll do it for 2, 3, 4 minutes, depending. And it's a great exercise, and in that journey of that minute or 2 minutes, I make sure that my strokes are all sounding the way they're supposed to. And it's very elementary, man. It's just, you always go back to basics to make yourself stronger in your playing. It reinforces that. Do we agree with that, gentlemen? Now we're going to take it to another formation. Instead of just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And besides doing it for a period of time, I don't believe in this muscle memory stuff because I don't really care about that. It's just a 5-stroke roll. But that's the platform that we're doing 6/8 in. We're playing a 5-stroke roll in 6/8. Now we're going to bring it up a platform. Instead of 6/8, we're going to think of 3/4. Now, we have 3/4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Again, that's 6 counts, but we only need 5. Now, the reason why I count the last one is to maintain the distance equally to the 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now, I'll take the metronome, and this time, if you're working on the 5, you have there, that's going to make that the quarter note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. Now it's the same thing is occurring. Whether I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or I'm going 1 and 2 and 3. the thought process is different. I'm in 6/8 the first one. The second one, I'm in 3/4. But the motion remains the same because that's what I'm getting out. The doubles sound the same, and the accent is heavy. It's just I'm thinking about it differently. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, now I have 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, that's 2 platforms. The third platform, we're going to use 16th notes and a quarter note. Now the grouping of 16th notes, as you know, has 4 notes. 1 E and A, that's 4 counts, to the quarter note, which will make it the 5th count. But now when I count this, at first, I'm counting 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Okay? And the reason why I counted all the way through is, like I said, to maintain the equal distance between the downbeat. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, E and a, 2 E and. Okay, so now we'll put the metronome. Let's take it at 80 first. That's the quarter note. That's 1, 2 E and the 3 E and the 4. 1 E and the 2, 3 E and the 4. 1 E and the 2, 3 E and the 4. 1 E and the 2, 3 E and the 4. 1 E and the 2, 3 E and the 4. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4. Eventually, you can drop the count. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there's other levels of counting that. At first I'm doing 16th note counting, but I could also do 8th note counting. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and feel it. And that's a good way to count it for the next platform. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now as you get up tempo, it's going to be harder to count 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 and the 4 E and that. So you kind of dropped it. And that was the 8th note count. I did it in 16th note count, and I did it in 8th note count. Now we're going to do it in quarter note count. Let's up the tempo somewhat. I don't know, let me try this. My hand is really hurting right now. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm not thinking 1 and a 2, I'm thinking quarter note. Let's slow it down a little. My left hand is hurting bad. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. We understand that, gentlemen? We have one more platform to hit. 30 seconds to the 8th. I will not go on to that if you don't understand this. We all on the same plate here? Ross? Okay, no response. No problem. Let's get on. Ross understands it. Okay. Now we're going to go on to the 32nd to the 8th. Now, when I count 30 seconds, I count them in 16th notes and double the stroke on the count. So if I'm going 1 E and I want to play that in 30-second notes, 1 E and 2 E, 3 E and 4 E and 5. So now we're going to play 30 seconds to the 8th. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 E and. Now, what I'm doing is I'm putting the last stroke on the upbeat. The 5-stroke roll is a beautiful rudiment, man. There's so much you can do with that on the drum set. And I'm putting it together for you, gentlemen. to demonstrate my approach and my, I don't know, doors that open for me with the 5-stroke roll. Hopefully the doors will open for you as well. Okay, now like I said, I play that on the upbeat, 1 E and 2 E and. Now you reverse it and you start the 8th note on the downbeat, 1 E and the 2 E and the 3 E and the 4. And that's more commonplace. And you'll see it written like this. Now, what I did, I presented it to everybody, both longhand and shorthand. Longhand, you'll see 4 30-seconds and an eighth. Shorthand, you'll see a run of eighth notes. However, if we're doing it to the and, we have 2 flags tied over to the and. Or if we're doing it to the downbeat, we'll have the downbeat and then the and, we'll have two flags on the and tied over to the downbeat. So it's just a variety of ways of doing it. But no matter where you play this and how you play it in musical notation, you're going to get a 5-stroke roll with an accent on the last stroke. It's this. That motion is there. So on and so forth. No questions on that. Alright, I only have a few more minutes left on this, and I didn't do the 5-stroke roll yesterday, so we did it today. But I'm going to make the lessons a little longer on the drum set when I do a drum set application. Okay? So, however you do your rudiments, and you know, the word rudiment, like I tell you, there's 2 schools to rudimental drumming, or 2 schools of thought, rather. You know, there's like 40 rudiments. At one time there was only 26. Somehow or other they got to 40. That's okay. And the other school is there's 3 rudiments. The singles, the doubles, and the flam. And all the rudiments, the 40 rudiments, if you look at them, they're all combinations of singles, doubles, or flams. Or duples, that's the double. Or singles, that's the rough. Or a duple. Okay, so in reality, where definitions are thrown out there, well, how you doing with the hybrid rudiments? What's a hybrid rudiment? A hybrid rudiment is a combination, okay, of singles, doubles, and a flam. Now, I play the 5-stroke roll. Technically, by definition, that's a hybrid. Okay, actually, if you look at stick control book, the first 4 lines, you're doing single strokes. Right-handed lead, then left-handed lead. Doubles, right-handed lead. Doubles, left-handed lead. So, by definition, in reality, you come to the paradiddle. That's the paradiddle sticking, so it's noted as the paradiddle. That is really, by definition, a hybrid. It's a combination of 2 rudiments, single and double. Okay, gentlemen, are we good for tonight? Any questions? Let's see this counter keep going up and down, up and down. You gentlemen have a counter on your screen? It says 3 are watching and 10 are watching and 1 is watching. I don't understand. Help me out with that, gentlemen. Okay, any questions? Now remember, tomorrow evening, there is no 8:30 lesson. Just a 1 p.m. And I'll try to do that on the drum set application, depending on how my left hand is. I'm doing a lot of work with my left hand to make it better. what you need to do, Mike, if you can continually get buffering, are you on Wi-Fi, Mike? Yeah, that's what I did, Ross. What I did with the single, for example, if I played the quarter note and yeah, I could do it in 3/4. For example, I can go 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1. So I perform what the single did. Here's 1, 2, and 3, and 1. That 1, 2, and 3, and 1. I just reversed it. Or what I did was, when I did the 5-stroke roll, 30 seconds to the 8th, I ended on the upbeat, 1 E N. Okay, and then I can go like this, 1 E and 2 E N, so on and so forth. Or if I'm doing the quarter note to 16ths, the way I presented it was the 16th first, 1 E and 2, 3 E and 4. Or I can go like this, 1 E and 2 E and 3. It's still a 5-stroke roll. The same thing with the 6. You know, the 6, there's a lot of the 6-stroke roll. When you're playing it up, now what I just did there it's been told me that's not a 6-stroke roll. That's two 8th notes and 4 16ths. But man, if I'm playing it up tempo, 1, and I reverse it, it's just a variation or an inversion. So you could play the 5-stroke roll in any kind of musical notation. But my point is, no matter what notation it's in, the levels are existing in there. The more you reinforce the levels, the stronger it's going to become, and you can play it any place you'd like. Okay? Gentlemen, I'm going to sign off if there's no more questions. Did that answer your question, Ross? And Mike? And whoever else? It is a big delay in this thing. I don't know how to get that delay out. Okay. You're welcome, Mike. Ross, take care of yourself, man. Take off a couple more days if you can. Take medication, rest. That's the only way you get rid of that. And if you're interested in doing that April thing, contact me. We'll talk about it. You have to read my mind. What does that mean? No spiritual kind of occult in here now. Cult in here. Okay. Gentlemen, it was a pleasure. Have a good evening.